If I were to pay to have my video shown to an audience, the cost per click or cost per view, let's say cost per view because we're talking about videos, isn't comparable to a podcast or YouTube or whatever interview, because you're talking about a cost per a matter of seconds. And actually Facebook measures by 7 seconds. Google measures and engaged views 10 seconds, 7 seconds, 10 seconds. With podcasts, people are listening to you for upwards of an hour, sometimes more. I did a podcast yesterday, it was an hour and a half. And dude, even to get a dozen people, we're so dismissive of small numbers now because we're so spoiled by the idea that like, oh, I had 500,000 impressions. Well, yeah, you had 500,000 impressions. That's a fraction of a second. But to get a dozen people in a room to sit there and listen to your message, and for those people to be targeted, because every podcast, generally speaking, is niched down to some degree. So now I can have a specific conversation with a specific audience over an extended period of time, and I can do that for free.
All right. Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Reside Platform Podcast. My name is Suneet Agrawal. I'll be your host today, and I'm joined by my good friend, the very illustrious, for episode number 2.
Uh-oh.
Kasim Aslam. Kasim, what's going on, bro?
Dude, I think I've done 3 of your shows, by the way. I think this is episode number 3.
Is it?
Yeah, you jackass. Thank you for remembering.
we will have to go back and check. I know we've scheduled about 8 times.
Yeah, there's a lot of things moving around. We're both very busy.
We scheduled about 8 times. So, Kasim, we just got back from Mexico for the Driven Mastermind. Why don't you just really quick tell everybody what you do, what you've done, and talk about the Driven Mastermind? Because it's been I love it. Wasn't I the first person ever in it? I don't know, but
I think you were the very first person who signed up.
Yeah. So tell everybody who you are, what you do, and we can talk a little bit about Driven. That was a really good event.
Yeah, I think that was our best Driven yet, to be honest with you. I've built 5, 7, and 8 figure professional services agencies. I built the largest Google Ads agency in the world. I sold it in October 2022. I built one of the top real estate investment lead generation agencies. Sold that in 2019. I know agency really well, which it's not a brag because it's the dumbest business model in the world, right? So I'm like, I know the dumbest business model in the world. Yeah, it's like being like, I know print really well. I'm great at direct mail. You know what I mean? But like for some reason, I cracked the code on agency work, and it pays the bills. So here I am. I own Driven Mastermind with 2 buddies, Perry and Jason. Perry's really the star of the show. Like he's the godfather of digital marketing, smartest guys ever lived. We had a call with him this morning, and he just blew everybody's mind on that call.
Blew my mind. I think I was going to text you right after, like while he was talking, but I just got lost in what he was saying. It was really good.
Yeah. Dude, we're supposed to be on those calls for 90 minutes, and he was done at minute 45, and I was just like, so I guess we're done now. I don't know what else there is to say. But he told everybody what to expect in 2025, and we all know he's right. Like,
I know he's right.
Yeah.
I've been listening to him since 2017, and I'm
there's never been a human that can skate to where the puck is going.
Yep. Yeah. What's that?
I said there's never been a human that can skate to where the puck is going better than Perry Belcher.
And the way that you say that is very accurate, 100%. So, Driven Mastermind, for those who are on this podcast, the only ones who would probably know is if they heard our episode, one of our previous episodes, or heard me talk about it. Why don't you just tell everyone about it?
Yeah, we have, I think, the top mastermind in the world. It's all about obsessive business growth, profitability. I hate to use the word scale, but we can even use the word scale. I actually think scale is
We can talk about scale too on this podcast, yes.
Scale is the dumbest freaking construct in the entrepreneurial environment. The fact that we've sold everybody on this shit, it's like, hey, here's what doesn't profit and will instantly commoditize your business. Why don't you go try to do this aggressively?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to scale. So tell us more about the mastermind.
We meet 4 times a year in person. We've capped the membership at 100 people. We're actually at threshold now, but you people cycle out every year of a mastermind. So if you want to join the mastermind, come give us $35,000 to be my friend. Join the wait list. We meet every week for 90 minutes. We have the value and the benefits are unreal. Like you get everything that Perry Belcher's ever produced, everything that Jason Fowler's ever produced.
Wait a second. It's not something small. It's fucking library.
He's so old, dude. Like hundreds of years of content.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
He puts out 100 years worth of content every week.
Every year. Yeah. He's nuts. So all his workshops, all his courses, everything I've ever done, you get like, badass benefit. Like I have an EA, I place EAs, and we do a boot camp every month to train new EAs. And if you're a Driven member, we'll train your EA for free.
Yeah, huge.
You get to go to Perry's Breaking Point for free. You get to go to Jason's events for free. Like,
yes,
basically anything we're not doing with a partner where we can just plop somebody in there. If you're a Driven member, you get right in. So you have to do 1 million gross rev. And more than that, you have to bring something to the table. You have to because and that's the other thing. Have you noticed? I don't know if this has been your experience. We have more members that own masterminds than any mastermind I've ever seen in my life.
No, I'm not hip to all that. I know Steve owns one.
Dude, that's the thing. Like Ali Bloyd's a member, Chris Mercer's a member, Tim Bratton's a member. Like all these people.
Tim has a mastermind?
If he doesn't, he should. Freaking
okay.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like our mastermind, bro, you're a good example. Our mastermind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So we're like the next level. We're all the people that actually own the other masterminds. Driven is where the real players go to learn how to, like, what's next, what to do. Perry Belcher is the godfather of digital marketing. Jason Fladlin's the best pitchman who's ever lived. And dude, our faculty, are you kidding me? Steve Sims, Rachel Miller, Reed Floren, Ruben Rock.
Me and Reed talk every day. Me and Rachel talk every other day.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's going to die at 40 with the amount of work he does. I don't know how he keeps that up.
Dude, he's a stay-at-home dad. That's what he does. He's holding the baby while his wife's at work.
Yeah, that's so funny.
It's so funny. Yeah.
I really love that kid.
Just going on the computer, just type it.
He shows up to the calls with his baby in hand. I'm like, that kid's going to learn some new words. Yeah. So how did I do, bro? That's the Driven pitch. Come join Driven.
I think it was great. Yeah. And I get a lot of value out of it. I think I was the first member, and it's been super transformative. And
even if you weren't, let's just say you were from now on.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you were.
Yeah.
I think you were.
Okay. Well, whatever. I'll take like second, I guess. But it's been super good for me, and I've learned a lot, and it's helped me develop into, I grow from it every year. It'll be my third year now, so it's been super good. Good. Yeah. So we just went to Mexico, and I want to touch on this next because we had our Driven family, but no kids allowed retreat because it's all include. It's adults only resort in Mexico.
Were you on the yacht?
Yeah, I was on the yacht.
Well, I got sick. I went below deck and fell asleep. I got seasick, dude. I'm not going to do the yacht next year.
I took Dramamine.
Did you? I took it too, but I don't think I took it in time. I took it once I got on the boat and I realized how rocky it was. By that time, it was too late.
I remember you going down. Yes. Yeah. And yes.
Yeah.
I was on the boat.
Went straight to sleep. And then Emma came and got me and said, we're going back to shore. And I had no concept of time. I didn't realize that we'd actually stopped and tethered the boats and had fun. I thought we were being called back early. So I thought it was like a failure.
Oh, no, it was fine. Yeah, it was good. I think the timing was actually great.
That's what everybody said. Yeah, the last time we stayed out too long.
Yeah. But so your talk at Driven really impacted me. So, and you talk about now for everyone listening, Kasim is the traffic guy. Right? You're the traffic guy.
Dude, I'm in a very fortunate position at being able to see more ad spend towards paid traffic than probably every other human on the planet, with a handful of exceptions.
Yes. So you're the traffic guy.
Yeah.
And when the traffic guy gets on stage at Driven and starts talking about the biggest opportunity in traffic being, drum roll, I wish I had a sound effect machine.
I don't even want to, I didn't know we were going to talk about this. I don't want to tell people. This is secret sauce, Suneet. You want me to give this away to your audience? Is that what we're doing right now?
Yes, we are giving it away.
Here's what pisses me off about this is it's not going to last. And everybody who's listening, make hay while the sun is shining, because this shit is, the rest of the world is going to crack this code. We've got a year.
We've got a year
to really make this work. We've got a year. So I didn't realize I was being baited by my friend to give away my very secret sauce. That said, drum roll.
Drum roll. That's called an open loop. I learned that at Driven.
Dude, it's podcast guesting.
Wow.
Paid traffic is a bubble. Programmatic is a bubble. SEO is an absolute, complete, and commoditized nightmare, and will be for the foreseeable future. Social media is impossibly hard. And dude, I had a reel go viral the other day. It had 1.5 million views.
You did?
Yeah, it was really good. It was on TikTok.
Oh.
Here's what's funny about it though: is the traffic to my link tree and my website was nominal. The bump to subscriptions was nominal. The bump to followers was nominal. And then the day after, and TikTok's like, well, what have you done for me lately? You know what I mean? Like,
you start at zero.
Yeah, you start right back to zero. Traffic is so hard. Here's the thing about podcasts: is even small podcasts with small audiences, people don't realize that the viewership is not pari passu. In Google or Meta, let's say, because that's what people understand from a traffic perspective. If I were to pay to have my video shown to an audience, the cost per click or cost per view, let's say cost per view because we're talking about videos, isn't comparable to a podcast or a YouTube or whatever interview, because you're talking about a cost per a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
Seconds. And actually Facebook measures by 7 seconds. Google measures and engaged views 10 seconds. 7 seconds, 10 seconds. With podcasts, people are listening to you for upwards of an hour, sometimes more. I did a podcast yesterday, it was an hour and a half.
Wow.
And dude, even to get 12 people, we're so dismissive of small numbers now because we're so spoiled by the idea that like, I had 500,000 impressions. Well, yeah, you had 500,000 impressions. That's a fraction of a second.
Yeah.
But to get 12 people in a room to sit there and listen to your message, and for those people to be targeted, because every podcast, generally speaking, is niched down to some degree. So now I can have a specific conversation with a specific audience over an extended period of time, and I can do that for free.
Yeah.
And bro, every podcast right now, this won't be true a year from now, every podcast is dying for quality guests. Dying for quality content. I did 4 podcasts yesterday.
Smart.
The opportunity in podcast, and now it's not scalable. It doesn't scale, Kasim, and that's, go hang yourself, you scalable morons. The opportunity in podcast guesting is insane. It's insane. Actually, dude, I did a podcast with your buddy. Who was it? I'm going to tell you. He's got the biggest, or one of the biggest podcasts for realtors in the world. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. I hear a lot of people say that.
Do they? I'm having a hard time finding his name. Good dude. Love the podcast. I feel bad now.
Guys,
but bro, it was like
his name on his computer right now.
He just casually dropped it. He's like, yeah, we do about 30 or 40,000 downloads a month. And I'm like,
really?
Are you kidding me? Yeah. And Real Estate Rockstars.
Oh,
do you know
yeah.
those guys?
That's the first real estate podcast I ever listened to. And the original owner sold it. Pat sold it.
Yeah.
And he ain't lying. That's the number 1 real estate podcast in the world. Yep.
I'm on that podcast, and he casually, and I made up that download number, by the way. I don't know what it really is. I don't want to give away his numbers, but he's telling me, it was off the charts. And I'm like, how much would I have to pay to get, because if that's not, let's say it is 40,000. That wasn't really the number, but let's say that it is. That's not a CPM number, because 40,000 views is 40,000 people that watched it for 10 seconds.
Yes.
Not 40,000 people that downloaded it and listened to it. Now they've heard my voice. They've potentially seen my face. The trust build, the authenticity, you know what I mean? Like just that branding. There's no amount of hyperbole I can add to this point. How do you calculate that value?
Yes.
And he didn't charge me a dime, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, and now you might, like, I realize I'm nerd famous. And so it's easier for me to get on podcasts than it is for some people. But that's only the big podcasts. Most podcasts, 90% of podcasts are accessible. A real key is write a book. If you haven't written a book, do something mildly notable.
Sure.
Like it's not hard to position yourself to start. And what's really cool is once you've been on 3 mediocre podcasts, all you have to say is, I've been seen on these last 3 podcasts. And then that's enough. They're like, okay, you've clearly been vetted. And man, the other thing that's cool about podcasts is they're evergreen.
Yes.
People still find 4 and 5 and 6-year-old perpetual traffic podcast episodes I did, bro. Like, they just live forever as long as the content's applicable. So yeah, that's the secret sauce. And I'm telling you, come 2026, the whole world is going to get heavily commoditized, and it's going to be pay to play, and people are going to start getting really smart about, how they allow guests and how they position it and swapping it up. So right now today, everybody go out, be a good podcast guest. Give first, give last, give more. Don't do this horse shit like, oh, I'm going to give you some of the answer, but here's my QR code or my hot link if you want the rest of it. Like, just be a real person.
Give it away.
Give it away. Give value. And if you really want to grow a brand, and that's the other piece of this, the other thing that people need to understand, the paradigm switch is there's no such thing as non-founder-led brands. There's no such thing, especially in the SMB world. It's founder first. Every brand needs a face and a voice. And if it's not you, you better go find somebody that's going to stick around.
Yep.
But if you're not willing to get out there and bang your own drum and toot your own horn and, choose your vocal analogy, you're going to be behind, because your competitors are willing to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And
so,
I think the context around that for our audience here is, which I told you off air and I've shared with a couple of my other friends and coaching clients, is I live in Sacramento. Okay. There are no doubt hundreds of local podcasts. Call it 100 local podcasts. One about a sports team, one about downtown shit to do, one about the moms group, one about something.
Oh, there's 50 about the moms group. Are you
kidding? Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, they would all love to have a local realtor come on and say something.
Oh, bro, no question.
No question.
No, yeah. No, here's the key though, and this is I'm about to throw shade. As long as you know what the fuck you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Like, you can't be an imbecile. But the minute a realtor can step in and say, this builder, this neighborhood, this guess, this prognostication, this is where I think things are going. This is why things are slow. This is where interest rates might be. This school district, bro. Even like. The thing that I really love, I've got one of the best realtors in the world. I really, really love her. Shout out to Kathy Holdsworth here in Phoenix, Arizona. Kathy will send me shit like new restaurants that are opening.
Yes.
That's the realtor's job. The realtor can be the community hub if they choose to.
You should see my 3 times a week newsletter that we send out.
Well, you're damn right. I bet that's true. You know what I mean? Like, the realtor can step into the role. And it's like the town crier. We don't have that anymore in this world. Like, the campfire is dead. There's nobody who's really stepping up and saying, outside of the church, but the church, even that's divisive. There's no agnostic center of the community. It's a vacuum that a realtor could easily fill as long as they're willing to put their finger to the pulse and do the work.
Yeah. I mean, Gary Vee used to say this, and I think he coined the term for our realtors is be the mayor, the digital mayor of your area.
You're damn right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
And he said that back when Crush It, the first book, or Ask Gary Vee came out. He said, be the digital mayor. And that's when I started making a bunch of content. Yeah. I didn't want to take videos the whole fucking day long of myself.
Dude, your content game is so on point. The shit that you do, your content's great. You do such a good job. If you're listening to this and you want to know how to do content, just go follow Suneet, because he does it. He does it exactly right. The thing about your content that I love, because I know you and I are friends. I know that's you. Mm-hmm. So many realtors produce content where I'm like, that's not, this is an American Idol. You're not auditioning for any, stop that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, stop with the ultra polished, ultra produced, like, your content's so authentic. It's really you. It's you talking.
Well, I mean, we've gotten there. We didn't start there, right? We have gotten there. But I mean, at the end of the day, and I said this on the Perpetual Traffic podcast of yours that I was on, that was a good one, was, these people are you just need to post every day. Just start there. Before anybody in any industry could complain about not having enough leads, post on social media once a day.
Yeah, which takes 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Right? You have to
2 minutes
yourself.
Yeah.
Have you read the Arnold Schwarzenegger book, his new one, Be Useful?
No, I'll go get it now. I really love him.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, get the friggin' Audible because it's him.
Yeah.
But he talks about,
be useful, do something big.
He's all, nobody was going to give me anything. I had to promote myself nonstop. And before I was the number one movie star in the world, I called myself the number one movie star in the world when I was promoting myself. It's true.
Yeah. Before I was the number one Google Ads agency in the world, I was saying I was the number one Google Ads. You know what I say now, Suneet? I say I'm the number one staffing firm out of Latin America. I don't know if that's true. But who ranks this shit? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I say it, and you know what? I know for a fact it's going to be true.
I think it will.
I know for a fact I'm going to hold that crown if I don't hold it already.
What a terrific segue, by the way. That could
Yeah.
not have
Dun,
gone.
dun, dun. You see what I did there? Let's talk about how I make money.
Yeah. But so, you when I first met you, you said, one of my best superpowers is
People.
not scaling, is leveraging international talent for my companies. And you had the number one Google agency in the world.
That's a fact, by the way. I
That
made this
is a
shit up in the
fact.
beginning, but I was the number one ranked, and we were the largest dedicated Google agency at the time of my sale, with 200 clients on $100 million in ad spend under management.
But you did it with how much international talent on the staff?
I had almost 100 employees, and 6 of them were in the United States.
6 folks.
Yeah. So, and I mean, they were legacy people. I didn't even need the 6. God bless them. I love you all. Bro, the funniest part about that is I built the best Google Ads agency in the world. I've never run a Google Ads campaign myself end to end in my life. I wouldn't know how to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't want to know how to. That's the thing. Entrepreneurship's not fulfillment, right? I built the top real estate lead generation campaign before I knew how to invest in real estate. I own an agency for Montessori schools. I'm not Montessori trained. You don't need to know how to do this shit. You need to find. It's who, not how.
Yes.
To go back to Dan Sullivan.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because for the longest time, especially in the real estate space, and you gave me a total mindset shift on this when I first met you a couple of years ago. Because someone in Canada is international talent.
Oh,
Don't be stuck just on the Philippines. Don't be stuck on, well, everybody in friggin' India has a thick ass accent.
Yeah.
In many cases, it's very true. And that can cause a lot of people here to have some sort of trepidation when speaking to them on the phone, right? So I think what you've done and have now taught me is open my mind across the cultural nuances. However, let's talk about Pareto Talent and what you're doing in Latin America.
So the Pareto distribution is the most important economic principle in existence.
Not
period.
economic, life principle.
Well, yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah. If you don't understand the Pareto principle, there's so much about your life that's just going to be harder. The Pareto principle says that 20% of the inputs yield 80% of the outputs. And it's true across every level of analysis. So 20% of the cows yield 80% of the milk, and 20% of the criminals commit 80% of the crimes. It's insane when you dig into it. And it's not actually 80-20. That's the other thing that's interesting. All it means is outweighted inputs and outputs. Sometimes it's 10-90. Sometimes it's 199. Like, it's unbelievably offset. 20% of the employees do 80% of the work, and that's fractal. Here's what that means. Imagine a 1,000-person organization, okay? Still a small business, but a nice-sized small business. In a 1,000-person organization, the Pareto principle says 200 people in that 1,000-person organization are doing 80% of the work. 200 to 80%. You think, like, that makes sense. That's, sure, that makes sense. But zoom in on those 200. Of those 200, you have 40 people doing 80% of that work.
Absolutely.
Zoom in on those 40. Of those 40, 8 people do 80% of that work. Of those 8, 1.6 do 80% of that work. That means that in a 1,000-person organization, one person is doing 40% of the work. Yep. 1.6. Which is insane. And it's exactly true. When I sold my agency, I had almost 100 employees. One guy, John Moran, who you know, on the faculty now Driven, one guy was managing 40% of my revenue. Smartest guy in the world. And here's what's insane. Here's what blows my mind. The rest of the business world tries to flatten the hierarchical distribution that is the Pareto principle, because they do this. Their business analysts, Goldman Sachs, Ivy League douchebags come in and they look at this Excel spreadsheet and they see existential crises. Why is this one person responsible for so much output? And then they say, diversify the risk. It's a Keyman insurance. But the problem is when you diversify the Pareto distribution, you create by intention average. You want all employees to be average. So if the Pareto distribution is a hierarchy where your best employees travel to the top of the hierarchy, they flatten the hierarchy. Suneet, it's insane.
It's insane, but
it's so insane. Accurate.
Yeah,
and you can index towards the higher distribution. So at Pareto Talent, we find, train, and place the best EAs in the world. And the other thing too that's really interesting is there's nothing more expensive than a cheap employee. Oh, so you can go find EAs at $2 an hour, and God bless you and best of luck. We find, train, and place the best EAs in the world, and we pay people more than they'd ever make domestically, and they get to work from home on a flexible schedule, and we give them meaningful work. We don't place for like, I want 500 cold calls a day. Best of luck to you. God bless. I know there's a place for that.
However,
there are places that do that as well.
100%. Dude,
right?
and
Yeah, we're
yes.
very focused. You're very focused in Pareto, which I think is what it takes to bring such a great product, like what Perry said earlier, right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. So that's the Pareto. And now, interestingly, we're out of EAs right now. I have a waiting list that's not insignificant. And so I'm not even selling my agency per se. You can come join my waiting list. I'd love to place for you. You'd have to be patient. However, what I want to do, my mission in life is I would love to see more opportunities for people in emerging nations.
Sure.
And the thing about it, dude, is
it's because we're kids of immigrants, bro.
Bro, right? It's like, hey, I could have been Slumdog Millionaire. You know what I mean? Like it was, yeah. We won the geographic lottery.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. So when you look at it's interesting because all my entrepreneurial friends, they will outsource, but they'll only outsource grunt work. All the knowledge work they feel like has to happen here. And in my mind, I'm like, in what world are there not outstandingly brilliant people in Asia, Eastern Europe, North Africa, Latin America?
Yeah.
So like, don't stop outsourcing just the bullshit. My first EA became my director of automations. My second EA became my director of social. My third EA became my CTO, managed my entire exit, and is now one of my best friends.
Yep.
And
moved to the U.S. with his family and changed
lives in Wisconsin.
Life.
Yeah, I filed for an H-1B. Yeah, dude, that was like what a stellar human he is.
Yeah, he's
also helps with Driven. I have a personal CFO right now from Argentina, who's one of the smartest humans I've ever met. He's a college professor, a master's degree in economics. He's my personal CFO, and it would blow your mind what I pay him.
Does he work for you full time?
Full-time employee. I mean, he's actually, so this is what's cool is he wants to be a college professor. He also teaches, but that doesn't pay him anything. So I pay him many multiples what he'd make domestically, which is a pittance for me. And both of us have this massive win-win synergistic relationship. And dude, those people are, so like go hire internationally for director level, management level, C level. They're there. And you're the belle of the ball. When you're hiring domestically, nobody wants to work for you.
Yeah.
Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook are swallowing all the best talent. So the Fortune 1000 eats the best talent alive. Of those that remain, they want to be entrepreneurs. Of those that remain from there, there's a problem with them. Work isn't their passion. They don't necessarily want to do it. You're their side hustle. They're going to just punch in. Like I hate to slander our collective environment, but it's true.
It's true.
When you go international, dude, those people, you're a very real opportunity to and for them, and they're grateful for the work. You get to change somebody's life. There's such anthropological significance in taking somebody, paying them more than they would make domestically, giving them a flexible schedule, and giving them some level of purpose. Imagine, especially in these emerging nations, dude, in Buenos Aires, traffic can be 1 hour each way, easy. Sure. You take a mom or a dad who has to travel 2 hours a day just to work, you let them work from home, guess what? That's 2 more hours a day with their children.
Absolutely.
You can't quantify the impact you can have on somebody's life, but you can see the response that they have when they work for you because they'll be more dedicated, more motivated than any employee you've ever had.
I think,
and dude, like you said, there are some cultural things, some hoops to jump through, some things to figure out. Indians and Pakistanis can't be on time for shit. Filipinos can't take constructive criticism. Eastern Europeans can't do things the wrong way. Latin Americans have an unbelievable adherence to religious holidays and they will lose their job over it. So, but as soon as you kind of figure out like, okay, these are the cultural idiosyncrasies that I have to work with, you get to benefit from insanely potent labor.
The other interesting thing that you had mentioned, we've discussed, is how, for example, we always look at the Philippines, but Walmart's in the Philippines, Dell's in the Philippines,
Google, GoDaddy, Wells Fargo,
American Express.
Google. Yeah. The Philippines is a small country. Dude, 2.5 years ago, the Philippines was blue ocean. I have a hard time hiring in the Philippines now.
Same.
Yeah. So the Philippines is, I mean, it's not, there's nothing wrong with Filipinos.
Nothing at all. I have 12. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not the same environment that it was because why would they work for you, graveyard shift, you're lonesome when they can go work for a great big corporation with benefits that's local on their own hours. And the Filipinos are very, very, very family driven. So
Absolutely.
Graveyard to Filipinos is not what it would be graveyard. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
That's why I like Latin America. They're effectively on our time zone.
Mostly,
and then, you mentioned accents earlier. My father has a Pakistani accent, so I'm allowed to say this.
Is it super thick?
It's not bad. He educated in a English school, so he sounds like he's one of those people
that says that over there.
Yeah.
Says that in
Yeah,
it.
but I mean, he does not do that. You know what I mean? He's not that bad. But even so, if I put my dad on the phone with my more conservative clients, and dude, I'm not crying racism because I don't think it's racist. Everybody's had a bad call center experience, or probably multiple, and they're Asian accents. So it's bad neuroassociative conditioning. The Latin accent is a neighbor. The Asian accent is a call center. So if you need callers, go to Latin America. Or like we said earlier, go to Canada. Dude, in Canada, paying $50K US is like paying $75K Canadian. They're not worried about healthcare because they're a socialist country. And it's cold. They can't go outside. All they do is work.
Yeah, no
and they're
workman's
friendly.
comp.
Yeah. Dude, really? Like no weird oversight. No, yeah. I had 30 Canadians, or probably I think a little less. I had 25 Canadians when I sold Solutions 8. Amazing labor force in Canada.
Yeah.
Don't go to Vancouver, Toronto. Go to Edmonton. Go to the middle of Canada. It's like middle America. The cost of living's way lower. They're so unbelievably friendly. Great for customer service. Not great for objection handling. So Canadians aren't going to do, that. You know where you go for that, dude? If you really want salespeople,
Where?
Egypt.
Dude,
The freaking Arabs,
I disagree, bro.
Really? Tell me why.
In real estate sales, the Egyptian ISAs I had were extremely direct.
Yeah.
And if someone would ask them, they would just say no. Right? It wouldn't be like an objection handling, which is probably my fault.
Yeah,
right?
I think that you give them the script, but the thing about it is, like, dude, Filipinos cannot overcome objection because, like, culturally, if somebody says no, oh gosh, I'm so sorry, forgive me. Canadians are the same way. The Arab culture is very, it's all built around like barter and negotiation. Dude, to buy groceries in Egypt, have you ever been to Cairo?
No.
You negotiate for just your tomatoes. You're sitting there. It's actually a lot of fun if you're into that sort of thing.
I'm totally into it. Yeah.
We should go to Cairo together. It's one of my favorite cities in the whole world. Like the Cairo market is such an experience. People will grab you bodily. They'll grab your arm and bring you into their shop and not let you leave until you buy something. And the whole time they're smiling. It's just this weird. A lot of people are really uncomfortable with the environment and the experience. It's so much fun. But the Egyptians are so good. If you say no, they're like, oh, but listen, you don't need like it's just so, it's like a joke to them almost. But everybody has different experiences. That's the thing is like, go kiss some frogs, figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
And there's some extraordinary, people are miracles. Suneet, people are miracles, but they're only miracles if you treat them that way. If you treat them like automatons and commodities and you sit there and you screenshot their desktop and you make them clock in and clock out and ask you to pee. Like, who wants to work in that environment?
Nobody.
Cut them loose,
who wants to manage to that level?
Swear to God, bro. I actually know some people that really get a kick out of it. I think they're all sadists. But yeah, man, if you cut them loose and really let them be autonomous, they're amazing. And if they're not, fire them. That's the other thing. I fire so quickly.
Yeah.
First time you screw up, my fault. So sorry, I didn't explain things well, obviously. Second time you screw up, your fault. What the hell's going on here? Third time you're fired. I don't have time to babysit you.
Even here, that's everybody.
Yeah.
Have write-ups. That's what I do. You get 3 write-ups. Like,
yeah.
So we could go on for so long. I know you got somewhere that you have to be. If somebody wants, number one, this was another good episode. It was really good.
Nah, but you say that to all the guests. I know you do.
I do. Yeah.
You flatterer. Yeah.
Yes. What's next for you? Where can people follow you? What should they be following?
I'm writing a book called Hire. Your audience can have it for free. It should be done by the end of this month. If they want it, go subscribe to my newsletter at kasim.me, KASIM.me. It's my whole hiring framework, wholesale. I hold nothing back. You can have it. Yes. This is exactly how I find these amazing people.
Which I'm doing right now for myself. So thank you for your guidance. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that about you. That makes me so happy, dude. So you can have my book. Follow me on socials, also kasim.me. And if you want to hire somebody at Pareto, we don't staff for grunt work. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just don't do it.
Yeah.
I make promises to people.
It's a different niche.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a different niche. So go to paretotalent.com, join my wait list. I've got a boot camp running right now. We only hire 1% of people. So I expect to graduate about 40 people from my boot camp. I already have a wait list that's over 20. So I'm going to be margin thin and narrow. So we're going to be selective about who we take. But join my wait list if you want a Pareto hire, because my people are the best people in the whole world.
Dude. And what if somebody wants to follow you on social? Where do they go?
Kasim.me has all my social links.
Okay. And you used to write these beautiful long things on Facebook. And
Dude, I published them as a book. I'll send you one. You can have it. It's called The Book of Threads. It's about ready. I'm going to publish it on Amazon. I put them all together. The book is so thick, dude. It's crazy.
That's awesome, dude. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, make sure you go give a shout out to Kasim. Check out the Pareto website. What's that website again?
ParetoTalent.com. Pareto.
ParetoTalent.com. And Kasim, thanks for being on again. I'll talk to you like later this week. But everybody else who's listening and watching, thank you so much for tuning in. It means a lot to me. If you got something out of this, number one, I sure friggin' hope you did. If you did, leave a review, give us a thumbs up, share with a friend. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Reside Platform Podcast. Peace out.